All right, what's up, everyone? Been a while since I made a video like this where I'm just talking straight to the camera. It's been a while since I've actually made any video, but at the time of recording this, it is currently December 27th, I think, 2020. And as I'm sitting here watching the final days of this terrible year pass by, I've been thinking to myself, was 2020 the best year of my life? So I know what you're probably thinking. 2020, the best year of your life? We've had pandemics, murder hornets, freaking almost had World War III back in January. So many awesome people have died, and everything's gone to crap. That's been one of the best years of your life? Well, I mean, kinda, sort of, yeah. But, here's why. So, when we first entered quarantine, I think a week before that, I went to a therapist, right? I've been meaning to go to a therapist for 2 years. And then I finally went, and I was actually diagnosed with something. I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. Generalized anxiety disorder is pretty much just, I get anxious over everything, anything from a pelican cawing too loud, just caw, caw, caw. I'm to a plane, being in a plane, just, anything across any spectrum, it makes me anxious. So I was prescribed medicine, and I started going to the therapy every 2 weeks. And that just really put me in a better mental state. We did the therapy over Zoom calls, and it's not hard to get medicine. You just have to go to a pharmacy. But it really helped, Therapy helps. Go to therapy, If you need to be medicated, please take medicine, If you can't find the time, that's fine, but get around to it eventually, Whether a couple of years pass or a couple of months pass, just go to therapy, right? It's super important. From there, we were still quarantined, right? We were still stuck inside of our homes, unable to do anything. And then when summer hit, I was just now I'm really not able to do anything. So I started this YouTube channel. To be honest, it started as a way for me to just get my ideas out there, and help out other filmmakers by giving the rundown of things that I've learned over the years and just kind of putting that into a condensed video. Because for a long time, I didn't really know anything about camera shots or how to write a script, and I couldn't find an exact video with the exact information. So I thought I would make some of those. But then this idea hit me at the very end of filming the first episode of Cooper's Real Life, which is what I would eventually call that series of how-tos. And it was, what if I did a Sugar Pine 7 type thing, where I took my real life and mixed it with this fictional world that I was building. And then I discovered Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino. I've known about Childish Gambino for years now. I've heard so much about Atlanta and Community, and I've heard some of his songs. I, of course, listened to This Is America the moment it hit, the moment it started, making headlines. And eventually, I listened to a couple of songs off of Because the Internet. But then, after us being quarantined, I was well, I might as well discover this Childish Gambino guy. And by summertime, I was a huge, huge fan of Childish Gambino. And I had watched all of Atlanta, and I had seen all of Community, and I was just holy crap, this guy made a universe with an album, a script, and the internet. And I was why can't I do the same? So when I was improvising the end of the first episode of Cooper's Real Life, I talked to somebody off camera. I said, hey, what did I say? I said something hey, this is my show. You don't say this when I'm trying to do the outro or some crap, or it's I think I might have said, hey, can we get lunch? Or, something like that. And that eventually just sprawled into a billion ideas in my head. And I was just like, what if I told this story of this guy, Cooper, who was always anxious, who was always scared, who always wanted to do something, but he couldn't because he held himself back. And then I was like, well, I can tell that story, but that's basically just a documentary. So what if I made it to where someone was actually holding him back? What if someone was actually tying him to a chair and forcing him to stay where he is? Forcing him to stay in his home, scared of what could be out there. And I was immaculated. My mind was going in a billion different directions, and eventually I did kind of get it all put together, but not really also at the same time, because I didn't write a lot of it down. As much as I am a filmmaker, I'm also kind of an improv comic, so I improv'd a lot of the episodes. Off the top of my head, I just had general ideas. But then from there, I got mild success. There were 30 to 40 to 50 people watching those videos. And eventually I was like, okay, so I have an audience for this, right? So I got to keep making it. I got to make a season 2. And I had actually had a couple of ideas for season 2 at that point. So I was just like, okay, let's do it, but let's also take a break. Let's take a backseat. And then Nando V Movies and High Top Films and Brown Table and Lessons from the Screenplay and all of these huge video essayists that I had loved for years made something called One Excellent Scene. One Excellent Scene was a project. It was a YouTube video essay project where anyone and everyone could pick a scene from any of the X-Men movies and make a video about it. And I was like, I want to do this. Because a year before, they had made something called One Marvelous Scene, which was the same thing but with the Marvel movies, and it was anticipation for Avengers Endgame. Remember when we could go to movie theaters? That was wild. So I was like, okay, I missed out on the last one. Let's do this one. I've always liked the X-Men more than, the Avengers or Spider-Man or anything. I've always loved the X-Men. So let's do this. And I did. I picked a scene from Deadpool 2, the final scene, the go be with your F word, go be with your family scene. After Deadpool, spoiler alert, dies at the end of Deadpool 2, in both kind of a parody of Logan, but as well as an adieu to the character of Deadpool, who would of course come back because comic books. And I was like, they mastered the craft of Deadpool. They mastered the point of Deadpool, right? They made something heartfelt and powerful and strong, and they also made it hilarious. They made it hilarious and dumb and vulgar. And I was just like, okay, I need to make a video about this scene. And it was at that moment I made it. I made the video. It wouldn't go up on YouTube. I was destroyed. I was being punched over and over again because there was a clip that was too long. And there was music that, I couldn't play. But eventually, I got it up. I got it out there. It became one of my favorite days ever. So, yeah, that was one of my favorite days ever, right? In my 15, almost 16 years of existence, one of my favorite days was when I was quarantined in my home and I wanted to make a video about a Deadpool movie. And then it got even better, because a part of the whole, One Excellent Scene initiative was that you could send the video to Nando V Movies, who started the whole initiative, and it would be added to a playlist. And when it was added to this One Excellent Scene playlist, everyone could watch it. Everyone in those huge YouTubers' audiences could watch it. And I sent my video his way, and he added it to the playlist, and then he messaged me. And he said, hey, really loved your video, underrated pick of scenes. And I was absolutely blown away by that. That probably changed my YouTube trajectory forever. And more so when it reached 400 views in one day. Now, to most everybody, that's not a lot, right? Especially on YouTube. But to me, that's so many people. That's like 340 more people than I'm used to. And I was just blown away. In a week, it reached 500 views. And now it's sitting at like 800 views. And that changed something inside of me. I'm not even sure what it is yet. But it changed something inside of me. And I was just like, I could do this. I could make what I've wanted to make for the past couple of years now, but I've been too nervous to do it. And people will actually like it because people think I do a good job, which is way out of what I had thought people would ever think. I thought people would watch it and be like, Deadpool 2? What? What? But really, it turns out people are like, Deadpool 2? Yeah! Yeah! People were down with it, man. And I was just like, that's awesome. So from there, I got around to making Cooper's Real Life Season 2. And by then, I was super hyped. I think I had some new equipment at the time. I think I finally got my microphone, which isn't this microphone that I'm using now. I got even more equipment for Christmas. Merry Christmas, by the way. My Christmas short film is still in the process of being made. So it'll probably be out by February. But hey, who cares? So anyway, I got new equipment. I was ready to make it. And I was like, with this season, I'm going to do way more. I'm going to do leagues more of what I was going to do. And then school started. And I was like, shoot. Now, it was like every other week, I had to go from making, one video a week to one video every other week. And eventually it was still made. And I did actually do some really interesting things. Like, the first episode was one of these stand-up and talk videos, but the second one was like an interview episode, and then the third one was like a found footage chronicle-esque, like, escapade through the woods. I called the episode, Woods. And then the fourth episode was just me and my twin brother in the same room talking to each other. And that was something I had never done before. I've never replicated myself in an environment. So I was just like, hey, let's go all out with this, And then I ended the show. Because from there, I had actually made a legitimate ending for our two characters that would both segue into all the stuff I make on here and eliminate questions of where's this character, what are they doing right now, blah, 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 blah. But I do have other ideas for season 3. I just can't make them right now because we're in a pandemic. Speaking of the pandemic, this heavily affected my school life. Half of my friends were going to school online, and the other half were at school with me on campus, but they also got sick half the time, or they got exposed, right? So they had to quarantine for 2 weeks. And at that point, I was just like, I was kind of pushed back down to the place I was in February of 2020. And I was just like, the world's weird again. And then I walked in to my 6th period class, which was my theater class. Now, this theater class is something totally different. New teacher, new school, new people, all of whom I had never met before walking into that class for the most part. And I've connected to some of these people on a level that I will never connect on with anybody ever again. And some of these people have become some of my best friends, like Seth, who you've seen in the Summer Stash in Siloam Springs Proof of Concept, and you'll see him again in Christmas Spirit, and you'll probably see him in a bunch of more stuff. And some of these other people you haven't seen yet, but you might one day. And they have rejuvenated, especially my teacher, Mr. S. He's rejuvenated that love of creating YouTube videos that was there in the beginning of the year and was gone by the end of the year. He rejuvenated that. He wanted me to make short films. He wanted me to make as many projects that we did in theater a short film and then submit it. Because of that class, I've made 3 more short films. I made CHS Archive, Dr. Lavender Adams. I've made The Elves, or How I Learned to Stop Caring and Kill Santa Claus. And finally, I made The Jack, or A Day with the Jack. It was originally called The Jack, and it eventually got called A Day with the Jack. I still got it wishy-washy in my head. But when I made A Day with the Jack, I had made it out of commitment. I had made it out of, okay, I'm going to do this thing for you, Mr. S. So you'll actually have an entry into this short film category that you've made for our virtual talent show. And then I made it. I made it with my dad. I had to cut it down a significant amount because I got a little intense with it. I was just like, 7.5 minutes. Yeah. But eventually, I got it down to the correct time and I figured everything out and I was super proud of it. I loved it, dude. And then I got an email that said, hey, we're going to be putting the virtual talent show on TV. And I freaked out. My short film was going to be on TV. I've never been on TV before. My work has never been on TV before. I've been on TV, but my work has never been on TV before. And then it was. And people loved it. And people loved it when it was put on TV. Which is still crazy for me to think about. You know, people really liked it. You know, for the next 3 days, I was getting emails from teachers and students were coming up to me and saying, hey, I liked your short film. Some of them said, hey, I liked your intermission. Because mine was the only short film in a collection of live performances. But people still liked it, you know? People still loved it. And that kicked open the gates for me. That put me in a mindset that said, hey, if you keep working on your craft, if you keep making these as much as you can, and you keep making them to a quality that you've never seen before, you're probably going to be on TV again. You might never be on TV again, but at least you tried. And that's why 2020 was one of the best years of my life. Because I had accomplished goals that I had set for myself when I was 8 years old. Before I was 16. And that was awesome to me. And now I'm going to do it again. I'm working on a feature film. It's in pre-production. We're still getting the money together. But I'm doing it. And I'm going to do it by the time I'm 20. Or by the time I'm 21. Or something, you know? I'm going to do it in a time that no one's seen before. And it's all because of 2020. And what 2020 taught me. That despite everything, despite how bad things may look, you still have a chance. You still have an opportunity to stop being anxious and get your life together and make a frickin' movie. And I couldn't have it any other way. I'm doing a video, child.
You have a microphone?
Yeah.
Wow.
Jesus. I'm going to have to edit this out. Wow. Or I won't edit this out.
No, but why are you so close to the camera?
Because that's the aesthetic I want.
But why is it aesthetic?
Go away.
No,
I'm going to
wait.
include this if you don't leave.
Wait, you are? Oh my god, I want to be famous.
You're not going to be famous.
But I am famous.
But not really.
Yes.
Do you want to
Ow!
help me do the outro?
Yes.
Okay, close the door.
my ear hurts.
As I was saying, this year was pretty good for me, but it wasn't good for everybody. How was your year, Cassidy?
Really bad because I was depressed all year.
She had a pretty bad year. She also went to therapy, but I don't know. She's super sad and a teenager soon. When's your birthday? January? Ugh, she's going to be a teenager in a month. So
Yay!
anyway, if
Means
you're
I'll be
watching
more.
this and you have money, please donate to any cause. Please donate to any cause. Stop spending your watch time on me. Go somewhere else. Go donate to anything. Go donate to animal shelters. Go donate to homeless people organizations. Go donate to things that'll help oppressed minorities and not just white people.
He's right though. Do that.
Yeah, go donate.
Or protest.
Ignore
if you
me or protest. Just, if your year was bad, I'm sorry. Go make somebody else's 2021 better. This is the first video of 2021. It's going to be interesting. What do you think? Is it going to be interesting this year? Do you think the year's going to be interesting?
Probably could be even worse than
You think it's going to be worse than last year? Well, I had a pretty good year last year, so. Well, this year. By the time we're recording this. So anyway, later, I don't have a outro yet.
You really just say later?
Later.
That's the stupidest thing I've
Peace.
ever heard.